Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to welcome you to a new podcast episode of today's Top Tech Leaders. As always, the goal of this podcast is to share insights and knowledge of top CTOs and product leaders on their leadership and what they've learned throughout their journey. We will cover management tips and tricks, organizational structures, tools, and best practices on how to successfully lead your product team. Our goal is to bring valuable insights to CTOs and CPOs of all seniorities. And I'm very excited to have Miriam with us today. Hi, Miriam.
Hello.
I myself, just in case you forgot, I'm the founder and CEO of Code Control 9M. And Miriam here is the CTO of Quipu. Also a really nice tool for freelancers and small companies. I think she will tell us a bit more about that in a sec. Her career has focused mostly on web development and making high availability web applications and working for startup companies throughout the whole time. So I'm very excited to have you with us, Miriam.
Thank you.
Perhaps before we get started, we have picked already a topic for today, and that is female leadership, female life in development in product teams. So I'm very excited about this. But before we dig deeper into that, perhaps you can say a bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're located, what you're working on at the moment.
Sure. So my name is Miriam, and I was born in Zaragoza. That is a city in Spain, right in between Barcelona and Madrid, more or less. I'm based there right now, and right now I'm the CTO at Quipu. That is a company, it's a software that provides freelancers and small companies with tools in order to do invoicing, taxes, bank reconciliation, and a lot of tasks that they need to do before going to accounting. So let's say pre-accounting. So yeah, we offer this tool, and we are focused on freelancers and small businesses. And recently we were acquired by a French company called Celsi. That has similar products, and we have synergies. So now we are French. So yeah, we're happy to be part of a big group that is the group Celsi. And yeah, that's
very good combination, French, Spanish. So it's good food, good weather. It's the perfect combination.
Yes.
Happy Spanish, and I don't know what to bring the Spanish bring to that, but yeah, so very nice. So before you tell us a bit about your career, which would really interest me, how you ended up in this role, could you give us a summary in 3 words, what the career would be summarized for you?
Yes, I think it would be resilience, passion, and ambition.
Very nice. I like that. And why is that? So you have a background in computer science, is that right?
No, I studied physics.
Physics.
And then I did a master's degree in web development, computer science, kind of. So yeah, it's coding and web development mostly.
So how did you find your way into development and ending up in a CTO role?
It was, I don't really know, but it was like, I didn't like physics to be dedicated to that. So when I finished my degree, I studied some programming subjects on my degree, C or sometimes others. So we did physical simulations and things like that with coding. And I like that more than physics. So I decided to switch and go with programming. And then I learned about the web development world, software and web applications, and not yet mobile applications, but something was there that I knew that the tech world was going to expand. So I like that. And I switched. I did this master's degree in web development. And after that, I just started working as a developer. I learned very soon that I didn't like the consultancy. So I switched to startups, product-oriented startups. And I have joined different startups in different markets. I have lived in the UK, where I worked for a nice startup called BaseKit. Then I came back and I started my own startup about gamification. For 3 years, I was more than 3 years and a half. I was working as a CTO on my own startup, but it was really hard in Spain. We were working with gamification before anybody heard about it in Spain, so it was hard. And then after 3 years and a half, we decided that it was not working, so let's fail fast. And then I moved on into another project, and other projects related to other things, fintech. And I joined Adidas for a couple of years, and then I ended up in Quipu. So yeah, that's my story. I don't know how it goes, but one step takes you to the other, right?
Very nice. Yeah, super interesting, and I think Quipu also an amazing product. And I like your story with you did startup, you did agency and consultancy, and then you had a quick stop in corporate, and then
Yes.
found your way back. So why was it just a short stop?
Sorry, say again.
So why was it just a short stop? Why didn't you end up staying at Adidas or going to Nike afterwards or
Yes,
something?
because I like to make a difference in the product that I'm building or in the project that I'm working in. So in Adidas, it was difficult as it's a really big company with a lot of people working, a lot of projects, a lot of decisions that are not up to you. So for me, it was difficult to make a difference there, and also to exploit my creativity was difficult in some aspects. So I decided that I would like better to be in a smaller place that I can be more of use, let's say. And that's why nothing against big corporates, but the impact you can make is usually not very important. And also, as a women in tech, as you said before, it's more difficult in big corporations to go up. So yeah, it was because of that mainly.
Yeah, let's go a bit into that. So, you're a woman, you studied physics, then development or web development, computer science part, and that was 2006, 7. And then you
Yes.
got as a developer into the tech world. How was that? I mean, I guess there were not that many colleagues, female colleagues, next to you, know?
Not really. I mean, I started in 2000. So in 2000, science and engineering was not very female dominated or even the equal. So I was there, and I was used to be the only one. I mean, not the only one, because in physics we have more women. But when I finished and I did my master's degree, after that, in every work, I was sometimes the only woman at the table. In most of the cases, the only woman at the table, the only woman. And then you get used to it, and sometimes you don't even realize it. But when you stop and think for a moment, you understand that can have an impact on your career, and that on the way the others perceive you and the others understand how you can do your work. So for me, sometimes it was frustrating that I was suspecting that because of my gender, I was not promoting, or I was having a less salary, or a lower salary. And then sometimes there were sexism, and they thought that I was not prepared enough to do the job. And so in the day-to-day work, you don't think about it. But when you think of your career, you can see the crystal ceiling sometimes that you had, and how you had to fight twice as hard to be at the same equal position as a man. So sometimes it's a bit frustrating, and sometimes you think that it's better to give up. But as I said, I have passion and I have ambition and I have resilience, so I keep going. And that's why I'm here today, because most of the women I know from the past, from my master's degree or colleagues, when I started working, they just switched to teaching instead of continuing in the development world, in the tech world, because it's too competitive and too difficult sometimes for us.
So you say for you the solution was resilience and resilience, being ambitious, but having the resilience to just continue.
Yeah, and being stubborn also, because
Stubborn.
when I
very good skill. Yeah.
when I put my mind into something, I just do it. So I say, when I sometimes want to give up, I say, no way, I'm too stubborn for that. So that's something that was good in order to continue.
Very nice. And I mean, how can this be changed? I mean, perhaps let's start with why are there not more women that enter the technical field, or do you have the feeling there is a change of that?
I think it's the reason is that we don't have enough role models there. I mean, I don't think women or girls in school have enough role models in the tech world. Still, less than 10% of women are CEOs or CTOs, less than 10%. So it's kind of a weird path. When you go that way, it's like you are the weird one because you didn't go with medicine or any other thing that is more friendly to women, let's say. So we need to start making this something normal. That you have a CTO, you have a CEO, and it's the same as a man, and you have enough role models in order to say, okay, I want to be like that woman that does this. Also, the pay gap, the wage gap, it's important. I think we have to work twice as hard in order to get the same compensation and the same position as a man. So it gets you exhausted. So that's also making more difficult for women to get to the top. And if you if you give up in the middle of the way, you don't get to be a CEO or CTO. So we need to try and make our culture in the tech world more women friendly. Sometimes people don't understand that they are biased. It's really difficult to make men in this industry understand that they sometimes are biased because they don't see it. It's the privileged point of view that you don't see that you're privileged. And they say women have the same opportunities, but if you feel it as a woman that you are not having the same opportunities, or it's too hard for you, or you have to prove all the time that you're valid all the time. It's too tiring, and some people just leave. It's the wise thing to do probably. The wise thing to do probably is leave because you are suffering unnecessarily. But if we were more conscious, men were more conscious that sometimes they are biased in this because when they have a CV from a woman and from a man, they tend to choose the man because they see qualities that they think they identify as good in a leader that sometimes are not that good or are equally good as the ones that have a women. For example, we tend to be more compassionate leaders than men, and it's proved that it works sometimes better to be more compassionate and more with more empathy. So it's a different kind of leadership, I think. In most of the cases, you cannot generalize, but in most of the cases is different, but it doesn't mean that it's worse. It can be also better. So when they do this selection, I mean, when they are searching for a CTO, CEO, tech lead, anything, they are like looking sometimes when they say, okay, I would like to be a woman because we don't have any women in the team. They are sometimes looking for a man in a woman's body, you know? You cannot find that. You have to find a woman, that's the job in a proper way. In her own way. In her own way. You won't have, probably she won't have the same skills as a man, or because of cultural aspects, she will be more insecure. That's something that also happens. We tend to be more insecure. So when we are asked about if we know about something, we tend to doubt ourselves. Men don't doubt themselves. They sell themselves. They just say it, very convinced, and even though they don't know about it, they feel like convinced that they know the thing or the question. But we tend to be more insecure because of cultural aspects, because of education, and that's not that we don't know the answer. It's because it's just that we sometimes doubt, and we think that we might be wrong. And sometimes that helps us progress, because if you don't realize that you're wrong, you cannot be right, you know. So it's different. So we need to learn that it's different sometimes, and it's not worse.
Yeah, and how can we do that? I mean, I think one part I understand is more awareness also of male leaders to understand the biases that that men have. How can we make changes in the organization, or what is your approach to it to make sure that I guess you work with a diverse team, but how do you do it, or do you do anything actively?
Yeah, I mean, I try, but I think the base of that, or the fundamentals, are education. So we need to educate people in that way from scratch, since they are children. When we are here, this all, let's say, I try to have diverse teams, and I have like 10 different nationalities in my team. I think it's better to have diverse teams in language, in culture, in everything, because it makes the product and the project and the team richer. Even though it can be difficult because differences of culture or whatever. But in terms of being gender diverse, is difficult because there are not many women to be chosen, as they don't get to hear because they get lost in the way. So I would say that the ones that are still here, we should boost their skills, and we should keep them there in order to get more and more coming after as role models, and then trying to make something that is more or less equal. But I don't have a magic trick for this. Yeah. It's difficult. It's always difficult when you say, okay, why you didn't hire a woman? They say a woman. They say I didn't have any candidates. They say, okay, we know that women don't apply for a job if they don't meet 90% of the requirements, while men apply if they meet like 50% of the requirements. So maybe you have to rewrite your offers in a way that they are less specific or aggressive, or we studied in Adidas the way you write an offer affects on how women read it and are able to apply or not. And if you change the way you redact the offer, you write the offer, you can get more women in the candidates pool. So that's something that we could also do. But yeah, step by step, we cannot change this. How do you say that?
Immediately,
immediately, overnight. Yeah.
Okay, so but there is a part when it comes down to identifying role models and really making sure that showcasing role models, right? Like you being a CTO of a really cool startup, I think it's really cool to be able to showcase and make sure that young female or young people see that there's no gender difference on a tech role or on a leadership role. So that's the one thing is the role model. The other thing is to make sure that we understand how people tick, right? So I think you mentioned a topic around imposter syndrome, about confidence, that just because someone doesn't speak out saying, I'm the greatest and I know it all, that they might still know it. They just might not be naturally always pushing for phrasing it that way, but have the skill of having other possibilities of reflecting and a different way of leadership. And then there was the third part that is, what can we do process-wise, right? So perhaps write our job ads a bit differently. Understand who do we talk to and how can we talk to these people directly to make sure that we get also other people into the company. How's it been? And I think this is another topic. You mentioned it in our discussion before, fairly briefly, but you said something like, I had to change jobs and I was 5 months pregnant. And I wasn't sure what to do because usually no one would hire me because I was pregnant. Can you say a bit something about it? Yeah, how does that work? And how was it a bit for you? Because it sounded like a very tough situation.
Yeah, so I was CTO in a startup, and the startup was not doing well, and they decided to shut it down. So I was 5 months pregnant, and at that point, you say, okay, you know that if you are pregnant, you're going to be on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And then you won't be there for 4 months or 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. For startups, that's a lot of time. And if you are going to go to a project that needs urgency in order to get done, in order to get to the market or anything, they're not going to hire a person that is going to go and live for 1 year, because it doesn't make any sense in a economical way, let's say. So in Spain, it's like that. If you're pregnant, it's very difficult that someone is going to hire you because they know you're going to be right away on leave, and then you have to take care of the children, and they think it's too much to have a job and have a child. And so it's in the culture is that if you are going to be a mother, you are going to be too occupied in order to have a job at the same time and be as productive as someone that is not taking care of a child, which in part is true, but not. I mean, you are more occupied, you're more busy, but you can do both at the same time. Although it's difficult, but we do it, and there's proof that we do it. So for me, it was a matter of, okay, shall I try and get maybe disappointed or maybe depressed about not getting a job or not understanding how can I be of value in this situation, or shall I just leave it until after I give birth and everything is settled down? So I chose the second option, and I think that year that I was 6 months, 1 year that I was doing projects as an advisor, technical advisor, and so I was starting a new company. But after that, going again to the work place to say, hey, I want to have a job, is difficult because you feel like you are not on trend, that you are just too much time out. You were too much time out, and you are not prepared to go again and be the leader that you need to be in order to have a position of responsibility. So yeah, it's tricky. I think that's an obstacle on any women's career, to have children and stop for a while. After you stop, and during the stop period, it's like you are losing your time. So yeah, it's hard because
I think it's really interesting because there are studies that show that parents are better leaders. So
I can
I think it's
understand.
yeah.
Like, it makes total sense because
yeah.
because if you know how to handle a child, then you know how to handle an adult, right?
Exactly right. Especially because they're incredibly stubborn and you have no idea why they're like this, and you need to understand it. So I think it's one of the best schools of leadership.
Yes,
So it's something that people forget, right? And I think there is still a very outdated viewpoint that it's lost time and that a career needs to be non-stop. And if you would be out of the market for a few months, a year, or whatever, that you forgot everything, or that you can't work anymore, right? If you put on your CV, I took a sabbatical, people say, "Oh, cool, you took a sabbatical." If you say, "I was in parental leave," like, "Oh, why?" Like, so it's so weird. It makes absolutely no sense, right?
yes,
So I
especially
think,
in this
yeah.
in this
Go ahead.
technical world especially in this technical world that everything changes so fast. It's like if you are 1 year apart, you know nothing.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
because you have lost track of all the trends, but it's not true because you can still read, you can still be in touch with people. I mean, and it's not that experience is better than being trendy. You know, if you have
Yeah,
experience in the tech world, you know which trend is going to be probably successful, and which trend is not
yeah.
going to
You
be.
can easily catch up, exactly. Even if you get a
Yes,
bit outdated for a bit, you just catch up. So yeah, I
yes,
think and I think one part is more fathers need to take parental leave, experience it themselves, and be a bit of time out as well. And people need to stop thinking about these
it's
straight
called
line careers that need to be only one direction without any breaks.
again cultural and educational. So let's try
Yeah,
and educate in these values.
yeah, very interesting. I think we're coming already close to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other advice that you would give other technical leaders on career, on how to manage stuff, on what is really important for you? And then perhaps afterwards, well, if you have any books or resources or podcasts or anything that you can recommend.
Um, I don't like to recommend this concrete things because it depends on your profile, kind of leadership, or the skills that you have and the skills that you don't. So go online. You have a lot of books and podcasts about anything that you would need to improve. So my advice is understand what you lack and try to fill the voids. Um, but the thing that I would say to women is that if you are in a position that you wanna pursue a career in tech and you think that you cannot do it because it's too hard, think about the ones that are coming after you. So if you leave, it's going to be more probable that the people that are following you are going to leave too. So keep going, don't give up. Um, I think we can change this, but we need to be stubborn and we have to be ambitious and we have to be there. Most and above all, to be there. Because if we're not there, nobody is going to be there for us, you know?
Really nice, really nice. Thank you so much, Miriam. Couldn't agree more. I'm very thankful to have had the chance to chat with a really great leader and CTO in this
Thank
podcast.
you. Good.
I guess if people are interested, they can reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Sure.
And definitely also check out Quipu in case you have need any accounting, invoicing, and accounting solution.
For sure.
Thank you so much. It has been really, really great. Thank you everyone for listening to today's Top Tech Leaders, of course. Please subscribe, give us a like, give us feedback so that we know what we can do better. And then until next time, keep coding, keep leading. Bye, Miriam.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me. Thank you.